Hi guys, welcome to the Oasis Healing Temple. My name is Brandi. For today's reading, we're going to take a look at hidden karmic loops and how can you break through them today. So if there's a repeating pattern or something that you've just noticed you keep experiencing over and over, or you feel stuck somewhere in your life, this is going to be a reading that helps you uncover the loop and help you resolve and make choices that helps you step out of the loop, the pattern, okay? So for pile number 1, we have this card here with Kambaba Jasper. For pile number 2, we have this card with blue Opal. And for pile number 3, we have this card with Mystic Merlinite, also known as Indigo Gabbro. Pause the video if you need more time to meditate. Use your intuition to guide you into which reading is speaking to you the most. And the timestamps will be located in the description box below. And I'll see you all at your readings. Welcome pile number 1. Today we're looking at your hidden karmic loops and how can you break out of them today. We're going to look at the karmic pattern first, and then we're going to look at how to resolve the karmic pattern. Okay. All right, so you were drawn to this card, and this card here is about the ending of one cycle, the beginning of something new. So I feel like you may be stuck and making a choice and unsure of what choice to make, maybe afraid to begin something new, to walk through that door and to say goodbye to the past. I feel like there may be something that you are unaware of, that you're not seeing, or potentially you may be wearing a mask, not stepping into your authentic self. Did I say that right? Authentic self. But you hold the key here. We have the key in the lock. You have the ability to free yourself, okay? So there's something with roots, something that has to do with a ancestral, which most of our karmic wounds are all ancestral wounds. They're in our DNA. They're passed down genetically, inherited, because our family has been dealing with it for generations. And so it takes somebody who has the strength and the willpower and the consciousness to override them, to transform them and learn how to integrate them and dissolve them, and then plant new healthy seeds, new belief systems, new patterns, new healthy relationships, you know what I mean? So there's something to do with your roots and your family. So let's see what else wants to come through. Oh, I like it over here. All right, karmic loops, and you had a lot of these come. We have released the root. You can't make this up. And look at the trees over here. And Kambaba Jasper, this is a stone that connects you to your ancestors. It is a blue algae that has been crystallized, and it is like it's a couple billion years old. It's one of the first bacterias here on the planet. So I definitely feel like this is something that goes way back in your family line. And it says, release the root. You cannot fully heal what you're afraid to name. Trace the pain to its root and gently pull it loose from your field. So you have to be honest and be brave and go within to find what is the belief, what is holding me back, what is my fear, what is the pain or the emotion that I'm afraid to feel, and give that emotion a name. You know, sometimes we don't even know what it is that we're running away from, that we're afraid to face, because we don't even know what it is. We're so scared to even face it, you know. And once you can name something, it gives you power over it, you know. So sometimes it can be something like, I'm afraid of being alone, you know, or I'm afraid of being abandoned, I'm afraid of disapproval. It's getting in there, it's all fear, but sometimes in our mind we make it bigger than what it really is, you know, and it's just something that's been repressed for a long time, something that's been anchored in to the family genetics, family codes for a good long while. And it needs somebody who can sit with the wound and understand why it's there. What is it? What is the message? What do you need to heal so that you can move on and so that you can grow healthy roots, loving roots, nurturing roots. And it says not everything needs to be fixed right now. Some healing begins when you're willing to stay with what hurts. Okay, and it's acknowledging the pain. It's acknowledging the feeling that has been denied and repressed. Let's see if we can get any more clues. We have set healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries protect your energy, stand firm in what you need to thrive. And then we have find inner peace. Beautiful. So peace isn't found outside, it's cultivated within. Create stillness in your mind and your soul. Okay, so take some time, okay, to just be with yourself. I got two. Let's go ahead and do these. So we have stagnation. Movement, even if slow, is progress. And then we have insecurity. Your worth is intrinsic and unchanging. Okay. So there's a little bit of insecurity. Like I said, I feel like you're stuck and unsure of how to move forward. So there's something, sorry, my chair's squeaking. Something to do with setting boundaries for yourself. Maybe there's been some feelings of a lack of self-worth, self-value, not feeling good enough, not feeling like you fit in or that you measure up in some kind of way. And so there's something that took place in your childhood, something that took place in the past that needs your attention, that needs your love, that needs your validation, your connection. And with the sit with the wound here, so it says not everything. You don't need to go try to, you know, fix every single thing all at one time. It's taking your time, and as something comes to the surface, it's sitting with that emotion, you know, and allowing yourself, if you're sad, to be sad. If you're angry, be angry, you know, and observe the emotion, observe the experience, observe the memory that's coming up for you, because that's where the healing needs to take place. All right, you have to go within, find somebody that you feel comfortable with. Sometimes speaking on it, because our throat chakra and our tears are ways that we release our emotions. By speaking on it, by crying the emotion out, by allowing the healing to take place instead of holding on to it and stuffing it in and pretending that everything's okay when really it's not. Your heart is broken. Your inner child needs some attention, and it needs somebody to comfort it, to sit with it, and to validate that experience so that it doesn't feel alone, so that you don't feel alone, so that that part of you, that version of you that was experiencing that pain, it needs to know that it's not alone, and know that it's okay, that it's loved, that it has every right to feel the emotion that it's feeling at the moment. And then you can encourage that version of yourself to express itself fully, and then you can give it the assurance that everything is okay right here, right now, and that you're in charge of your own life. You get to decide who is worthy of your time, your energy, your love, your heart, and you can set those healthy boundaries that says, no, I'm going to protect myself. I've learned to love myself better, and I'm going to move forward from this experience, and I'm going to let go of the feeling that I need this approval, or that I need something from someone who can't give it to me, and so I'm going to give it to myself. Okay. The way we do this is by shining light, and the light comes from our awareness, from our heart, from being able to sit comfortably with the emotion and allow it to move through us. It's how we release it, is by actually honoring the emotion that's coming up. Instead of repressing it and holding on to it, we allow ourselves to experience it, to cry it out. You ever notice, like, when you do have an emotion about something and you're upset about something and you cry, you release the buildup, you release the tension, you know, and you feel better after you've released it out and let it out, you know. That's what needs to happen. And give yourself like the biggest hug and tell yourself that it's going to be okay. It's time for you to move on from this experience, okay? Let me see. Let's see what how to break the karmic loop today. We have faith coming through here. And look at these guides. Look at this offering. So we have the healing of the roots, healing of the physical body coming through with this here. We have the chalice, and we have this woman who's holding the earth, kind of like in her womb space here. Healing the emotional body. We have discovery. Okay, yes. Discover the root of the situation, the root of the pain, the root of the wound. And you came up with a story to help you move through this experience. You know, as children, we don't have the tools to cope with life situations yet. We don't have, you know, a therapist for a parent to tell us, okay, what are you feeling right now, and validate that experience for us, and then give us the tools how to cope with it and handle it. Children just, you know, we create a story in our mind, and we rationalize it away, and then we kind of just tuck it away for later, and we're like, okay, well, this isn't accepted. I was crying and I was told to shut up, and, you know, or I'll give you something to cry about. You know, we all had different childhoods, and our parents, you know, said different things, and at the time they may not have even been aware that it was teaching you how to suppress your emotions and not to express them, because some emotions were acceptable and some were not, because most people don't know how to handle the uncomfortable emotions, right? So sadness, anger, insecurity, doubt, a lot of people don't know what to do with them, and so they just kind of like tuck them away in their back pocket and pretend they don't exist. But it just gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and it ends up creating chaos in our life further on. We end up not trusting ourselves. We end up ignoring our true feelings. We end up, you know, pretending that we don't feel hurt when somebody says something rude or disrespectful, especially when it comes from somebody that we love and that we trust, and their family, and they say things that are very rude and critical, and we just kind of write them off as, you know, that's just who they are, and they're always like that, and we just accept it, you know. We ignore that it hurts our feelings and hurts our hearts, because we care about our family members, but it doesn't feel like they care about how they treat us and how they hurt us, you know. And that's why setting these healthy boundaries, you know, by speaking on it and saying, like, you know, when you talk to me like that, it makes me feel like you don't care about my feelings, and you don't care that it hurts me when you say these things or when you judge me, and it makes me not want to be around you. It actually makes me want to distance myself from you. And giving them that opportunity to acknowledge where their words are hurtful, where their actions are hurtful, and if they don't take responsibility for them and apologize, then you really have to make those hard choices and say, you know, well, I'm just gonna have to distance myself from you. I can love you from a distance, but I don't want you in my inner circle. You know, I've got to protect my heart, and you don't care how you make me feel. And you have to be strong and confident and taking care of yourself, especially if they don't, you know, care. What kind of love is that, you know? And you have to learn to love yourself more, and to say, I deserve more. I deserve somebody who sees me, who appreciates me. We have this higher guardian here. So I feel like you have a spirit guide who's with you, who's trying, there may be signs that you may have been overlooking about needing to set these healthy boundaries for yourself. And in doing so, you will find a place of peace within, you know, because that's what you're learning to do, is to let go of the hurt and the pain and the people in your life who create that pain, and set these healthy boundaries and standards for yourself so that you can move forward feeling more confident in your choices and feeling more confident in who you are. And we have expansion. And look at the same guide. There's been a guide that's been with you your whole life. You may have been aware or unaware, but they have been guiding you this whole time, whispering to you, maybe contacting you in your dreams. Facade here. Okay. Yeah, it's time to move on from these relationships that claim that they love you, but really they treat you like, you know, an ugly, you know, stepchild. You know, it's horrible to say that, but I mean, truly, it's not like we all haven't heard that saying before. They treat you like you're, you know, a dog, worse than a dog. I mean, not that dogs are treated poorly, but some dogs are, you know what I mean? They have this, like, they say all the right words, you know, but their actions say something different, you know, and that's what you have to learn on how to protect yourself, is watching people's motives, watching their actions. You know, people can say I'm sorry all day long, but if they're constantly, you know, going out and cheating on you but saying I'm sorry, you know, they're not really sorry, you know, because sorry means they changed the behavior. All right, so we have insecurity coming out twice. So there's definitely a lack of confidence. This is the pattern that you keep seeing. Maybe you've been attracting relationships that prey on your insecurity. That's because you don't know your worth, you don't know your heart, you don't know what you deserve in your life. Because sometime in the past you had people take advantage of you, or people criticize you or shame you, or the way that somebody treated you made you feel like you weren't good enough, you know. Well, I've done this, this, and this for them, and I'm always forgiving, I'm always compassionate and understanding, but they keep treating me this way, you know. And it's because you're allowing them without realizing it. You're not setting that boundary. You're not saying, you know, all right, we need to have a talk because you keep, I'm not sure if you realize it, but this is what you're doing and it's making me feel this way. You know, vocalize it, communicate it, so that you set that boundary and say, this is unacceptable to me, you know. I deserve this and I want this if I'm going to have a relationship with you. And if you can't meet me halfway and meet me there, then I need to walk away and be comfortable and confident walking away, you know. And you have to say, well, what do I need from this relationship? What am I seeking, you know? And why am I afraid to walk away? Do I need their approval? Does their love mean so much to me, you know, that I can't walk away from this person because I'm afraid that they'll disown me or don't want anything to do with me? And is this the type of love that you really want? You know, is that love something that you're craving, the way that they love? Is that something that you're saying, yeah, I'll settle for that? Are you settling for that, really? You know, analyze that. Go within and have that hard connection with yourself, not hard conversation with yourself, and get to know yourself on a deeper level. And open your heart, open your mind to seeing the truth, you know. We have Archangel Phanuel, hope, optimism, and new beginnings. Yes, it's time to move on. It's time to close that door and start a new chapter. To take the mask off, to see your beauty, to see your potential. And the other one, we have connections, partnership, contract, and commitment. Nice. New beginnings, new partnerships, new relationships. And that's what you need in your life. You need people who see you, who sees your heart, who appreciates your genuine good heart. You know what I mean? I feel like you may have been heartbroken many, many times, and it causes us to be untrusting of people. We end up closing off ourselves from meeting new people or experiencing love in all the different ways that love can come to us. We end up, you know, blocking it without realizing it, especially if we haven't dealt with the pain, and the heart becomes wounded, and so it's distrusting, and you do feel stuck and trapped and unloved. So the heart needs your attention, and it needs your healing, it needs your love, so that you can move on from these types of relationships, so that you can see your worth and your value. And these types of relationships, they're karmic. We chose to incarnate with these people into these experiences so that we could learn what love isn't, so that we can appreciate what love is. So by people treating you poorly, people disrespecting you, people shaming you or ignoring you, it shows you the type of love that you don't want, you know? And so you can, when you can see things from a different perspective and see, okay, why would I choose to incarnate into this family and be treated this way? It was so that you could understand the dark, understand the lack, the contrast of the light and the shadow, so that you could experience this early on, so that you knew where the problem in the bloodline was, and through the experience of it, you can then transform that energy and bring love into the places that were void of love. All right, so this was all in the shadow, this is all the darkness, this is all the heavy burdens that this family's been passing down generationally, and you're the one who chose to come in and seed these new seeds and potentials of love and light and compassion and understanding and awareness. And so you have the capability to do it. You are a strong soul. You have been guided through this whole journey to see where you needed to grow new seeds, where you needed to pull these weeds out, because these aren't serving. This is something that's just creating more and more shadow, more and more darkness, more and more pain. And you're here to transform the pain and bring love, to bring nurturing. Where do I need to set healthier boundaries, you know, so that we learn not to tolerate being treated, you know, neglectfully, you know. And this is where your power is going to come in, to stand up for yourself, so that you create healthier boundaries, healthier relationships, healthier partnerships. And we have number 2 here, and then a 29. This is actually a 20, but it's 2. 29 to 11 essentially is a 2, you know. So we have lots of partnership, harmony, balance, awakening, trusting your intuition. All right, I'm going to get you a few more cards, and then we'll close your reading. All right, how to help pile number 1 break through these karmic loops, please. And we release these wounds by acknowledging them, by feeling into them, by crying them out, writing them down, burning them up, making that conscious choice and effort to be with them. We have blessed change. A major life change brings you great blessings. Yay! It's going to bring new opportunities, new beginnings. You know, have hope for yourself. Be optimistic about going forward. We have faith coming through and optimism here. Yeah, when you make this choice, when you finally decide, like, okay, I'm going to do this for myself because I deserve it, and I know my heart, I know who I am, I know the type of friend that I am, and I deserve people who appreciate that, who want to reciprocate and give me the same type of love in return, you know. You set those boundaries and those standards, and you start to attract people in who will match that vibration and that energy. Because right now you're attracting people who know you don't have boundaries. You're willing to tolerate and settle for anything, for like crumbs, pretty much. And they're like, oh, right, this person doesn't know their worth, so, you know, I don't have to give them anything, because they just keep tolerating me, treating them like crap, and they haven't said anything, so I'm just going to keep being me and doing what I want to do. Until you learn to stand up for yourself. All right, let's do this again. Somebody just flew on the floor. What do we have? We have listened to your intuitive feelings. Your body is receiving accurate messages from the divine. See, and I feel like that's it. Sometimes we we ignore our feelings and we ignore our gut instincts. We don't pay attention to those red flags. And that's what gets us in trouble, is because we deny our feelings. We deny our intuition. We deny our instincts that says, this person is lying. They meant what they said. They're just saying this because I'm calling them out on it. You know what I mean? Listen to your intuition there. All right, we have singing and dancing. Express yourself and awaken your psychic senses through the magical power of music and movement. This may be something that helps you heal. Singing, expressing yourself, using that throat chakra, moving the body. This also helps dislodge stagnant energy. So, and gets the emotions rising and moving. Because like I said, when emotions don't move, they become very stagnant, very heavy, very overwhelming. And the more that you move the body, it starts shifting the energies around, and things may come to the surface to be released. You know, memories may come up where you were treated a certain kind of way and it hurt your heart, you know what I mean? And when they do, allow yourself to love that version of yourself that tolerated less than they deserved, you know what I mean? Out of fear that they weren't going to be loved if they didn't tolerate being treated like, you know, dirt. And know that you deserve better. And give yourself the biggest hug. Forgive yourself for not standing up for yourself and saying, hey, like, don't talk to me that way. Don't treat me that way. You know, I have been there, pile number one, so my heart goes out to you. I know exactly the type of person you are. Very empathic, very understanding, very compassionate, but you don't deserve people to treat you, you know, like your feelings don't matter and they can just say whatever they want to say. And because you're such a kind person that you're just going to take it, you know. There comes a point where you finally say enough's enough, and you wish you'd have done it sooner, you know what I mean? And sometimes regret comes up, you know what I mean? But, you know, don't linger there too long. Just give yourself the big hug and say, it's okay. I got you now. We're stronger because of that. And now I know how to catch it sooner. And the more you keep catching it, you won't be attracting any more of those types of people. You know, I mean, those energies will be like, oh no, don't mess with that one. They know their worth and their value. So I can't play any games with them. They see through my BS. And that's going to be the place that you get to. Let me get you one more of these here. One more card for pile number one. Give them one more card. You're going to be okay, I promise. I am on the other end of that, couple years out, and I tell you, it's like such a blessing, and this was even with family members for me. And looking back, I wish I would have done it sooner, but I understand why I didn't, because I love them so much, and I understand, you know, everybody's different, but whew, I wish I would have stood up for myself sooner and said, don't talk to me like that, you know. We have music for manifesting. To manifest rapidly, think of your desire while you chant, hum, sing, or play music. All right, so music is a big healing tool for you, pile number one. Playing music, singing songs, singing from your heart, opening your heart. This is going to help you heal. It's going to help you release. It's going to help move the energies around. It's going to help you be more centered, to bring in your confidence. You know, I really am so excited for you to break yourself out of this karmic loop. Now is the time for you to start something new, to be more peaceful, be more happy, to have healthier, stronger relationships, for you to be more confident in yourself and setting those healthy boundaries and knowing your worth, okay? Ooh, ooh, ooh. I just want to go stand up for you and smack that bully. I mean, no, I don't condone violence, but, you know, mentally smack them. All right, pile number one, I'm sending y'all so much love and big hugs. Thank you so much for being here on the channel. If this reading resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Please like and subscribe. Did I say that? I don't know. But yeah, I'd love to have you back for future readings. I'm sending y'all so much love. Take care and have a blessed day. Welcome to your reading, pile number two. These are your hidden karmic loops and how you can break out of them. So we're going to look at the karmic loop, and then these are going to be your cards on how to free yourself from the experience. So you were drawn to this card here, and this card is about the past and reviewing the past. And it has something to do with the relationship, because this man is reviewing this the life experience that they had with someone. So this could be a past love, past relationship. And we have card number 22. Twos are about partnership, and 22 is the, you know, transformation within a partnership, harmony, growth, healing. So there's something with relationship here, and you were drawn to the blue opal, and blue opal can help us heal from past traumas, stress, anxiety. Very good for our throat chakra, very healing. Also helps with the, you know, communication, since it's connected to our throat chakra. So then maybe there is a lack of communication with this individual. Perhaps there were harsh words that were spoken in this relationship, and you may be reviewing it over and over in your mind. Or maybe there are things that you didn't get to say that you wish you said. So we're gonna take a look at your other cards to get some more information. But something with the past relationship, this seems to be the pattern that we're speaking about today. We have reap what you sow. The energy you put out will return to you. Choose wisely, as you will reap what you sow. Recognize relational wounds. Not every scar came from cruelty. Some came from absence, silence, or unmet needs. Name what hurt you. Okay. So perhaps somebody did hurt you, or maybe you end up hurting this other person. I'm not sure yet. Let's see what else we have. Kindness creates change. Every act of kindness shifts something somewhere. Be the reason someone feels hope again. And we have disarm the fear. Fear limits your potential. Release it and step into your power with confidence. We have insecurity. Oops, wrong one. Control. Betrayal, anger, pride, and grief. Okay. All right, so I feel like there may have been harsh words. There may have been insecurities. May have been a very controlling atmosphere. Because we have insecurity here. So insecurity about being cheated on, insecurity about not being enough. We have grief and pride, unwilling to maybe take responsibility, or unwilling to acknowledge, oops, sorry, I didn't bump the camera. Acknowledge wrongs, or acknowledge our part that we play here within the relationship. Perhaps you felt, you have a lot of anger about the relationship. I feel like there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of resentment, holding on to the pain, holding a grudge. I feel like that's what's happening here. You may be holding a grudge about this relationship, about this individual, wanting to hold on to, you know, the person. Maybe they said something, or maybe their actions are what broke your heart, and y'all just couldn't seem to get on the same page. And I feel like there's a reason for that. There was a reason for this experience, because you are learning to, there may have been someone in your childhood where this pattern, where this wound began, you know, something to do with the roots and who you choose to have in your life. I mean, you could have been the person that maybe lost this individual, you know, because of your own inner wounds. You didn't know how to treat another person, because maybe you grew up in an environment where love wasn't very active, you know, wasn't a big part of your upbringing. Maybe you had parents that were very harsh, very critical. They didn't know how to love. They were just very neglectful. Perhaps they didn't communicate with you enough. They didn't share their feelings or emotions. And so I feel like you may have felt neglected in a certain way, or like, you know, you didn't matter. You didn't feel like you had someone there for you. And so sometimes when we're born into those families where love isn't a dominant energy, say that you were born, you know, not, this isn't you, I'm just giving an example here. Born into a family where the mother and the father, they ended up getting pregnant at a young age, and back in the past, you know, women getting pregnant before marriage was something that was shameful, and let's say that the parents forced them to get married at a young age because she was pregnant, and neither one of them like really wanted to have a baby at this age. Neither one of them were ready for marriage. It was like forced onto them, and so they ended up doing what was forced on them, what was expected to them, but it didn't feel like it was their choice. And so as they ended up getting further into the relationship and having to raise a child together, where both of them weren't happy, they weren't happy in the marriage, they weren't happy with the child, it almost ends up feeling like it's like the child gets blamed, or all the anger and the resentment gets put on the child, because neither one of them wanted the child, neither one of them wanted to be married, and so neither one of them wants to be responsible, and so neither one of them gives love to that child and makes that child feel accepted or wanted. And so when that child grows up feeling like they're not good enough and that they're not loved, they don't have that love to give to others because they weren't taught how to love. They weren't taught how to give. They don't have those tools, you know what I mean? And so then that child grows up and has a relationship with someone, or wants to have a relationship, but they don't know exactly how to have a relationship. They only know what they've seen in the environment that they've been raised in, and whatever social programming they've seen and been brought up in, you know what I mean? And so when we're getting into relationships with other people, we don't know their upbringing, we don't know their patterns and their programmings. And so when we get together in these relationships where we may be drawn to each other through, you know, chemistry, but initially we end up finding where we're not a good match, because the way that we want to be loved isn't something that is being fulfilled, you know. And sometimes we don't even know what love looks like until we know what it isn't. So this may some of the story may resonate with you or with this individual that you're reminiscing about, you know, the things, what could have been. Perhaps they may have, they themselves had a childhood where loyalty wasn't something that was very big in the household. Maybe the parents just weren't very loving to each other. They didn't find that bond and that connection. And so instead of walking away because they had children, they just kind of, you know, somebody cheated on somebody, and it was tolerated just to keep the family whole, you know what I mean? Even though it wasn't a loving home, and people tend to think that children don't recognize or pay attention, but they do, you know? And so I feel like you may have a little bit of insecurities, a feeling that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy. You may have been cheated on by this individual. You may have just broken your heart or did something that was underhanded that brought you a lot of pain and sadness, and you just keep looking back over the situation and trying to figure out where you went wrong, where the relationship went wrong, and trying to have some kind of understanding. And I feel like sometimes we just have to walk away, and it's time to say goodbye. And there is a grieving period that we all have when a relationship ends, but it depends on how long you've been stuck in that same space, you know, over analyzing, trying to process the experience, and holding on to the anger, holding on to, you know, I felt justified in doing what I did because, you know, this and this and this. And that can get you stuck in the mind, is replaying the argument, replaying the situation over and over again, where you constantly feel like you have to defend yourself and why you made the choices that you made. And I have been there. I've been in an argument with somebody who did me wrong, and feeling like part of me was heartbroken, and I missed them, and I wanted the relationship with them, but they were still going to be that same person. They were not recognizing where they went wrong. They weren't taking responsibility for their actions and the role that they played and the ways that they hurt me. And so I kept hearing myself in my mind tell them, well, this, and this, and this, and this. And they would come back with their conversation, you know, about why it was okay for them to do what they did because you did this, and this, like years ago, even though we had conversations about it where I wasn't even aware until they were screaming in my face about something. I was like, well, you could have just told me. I would have, you know, I didn't know that. I didn't know that's how you felt. But that wasn't like my intention. And an apology and never repeated, but they could never forget. It was like, no, they couldn't. They saw it as just straight up betrayal, and how dare you even do anything to like hurt me. Even though that it wasn't an intentional hurt, and I wasn't doing something like tit for tat, or you did this and I'm gonna hold on to this in my back pocket so that I can justify me doing something crappy to you later on down the road, you know. And that's kind of how they would do it. They would like store things away to throw out later anytime they did something, you know, crappy. And then when I would go talk to them about it, they would just unleash all this rage that they had within. And I was like, okay, so you've been holding on to this resentment for how long, and didn't have a conversation with me about it, and then you just go and start doing like petty little passive aggressive things to hurt me intentionally, when I was doing, I had no awareness of doing. I wasn't doing it purposefully to hurt you. And so it taught me like, whoa, that's not the kind of relationship I want to have with somebody. And it ended up giving me the confidence to be able to set that boundary and that standard for myself of what I want in a relationship with somebody. And if that's how you want to treat me, I don't want a relationship with somebody like that. I don't hate you. I'll love you at a distance from way over there, but I don't really want you in my life front and center anymore. And that may be something that you have to learn to do for yourself. And eventually, when I would hear them come up in my mind again, starting the same argument, I would just cut them off. I'm like, no, I've already said my piece about the situation and how I feel, and you don't want to take responsibility. You're not willing to work on your behavior. So, yeah, time to say goodbye. And I did. And every time, like I said, when it kept coming, when they would try to attack me psychically in my mind, I would just cut them off, and eventually they quit. They quit reaching out to me. They quit sending, you know, negativity my way because I quit engaging in it. And that's what you'll end up learning how to do, is to quit looking over this experience over and over again, having these conversations with them in your mind over and over again. You just learn to say, no, I'm walking away because this is what I deserve, and just let them reap their own karmic reward here. So you do me wrong, this is what's going to happen with you, you know. And if I've done something, then I know that I will have to take responsibility for my actions, and I do. And that's the thing, you have to take responsibility for your part, the role that you play in the relationship and where it went wrong, and take it as a lesson. You know, I'm learning from this experience. I'm learning how to love myself better. I'm learning how to walk away from people that don't treat me with kindness and respect. And I'm setting a stronger, healthier boundary for myself. And I now know that I know my worth and my value. And I know when somebody truly cares about me, because they don't make me feel this way, and they don't want me to feel this way. They want to have a healthy relationship. They tell me when I hurt their feelings, and we address it. I apologize, and we make steps going together forward, feeling stronger and more bonded together, you know, versus this you know, you did this and you did this, so that's why I did this and I did that. And it just goes in this circle over and over again, passive aggressiveness, where somebody who's intentionally, purposefully doing some messed up stuff and then justifying it because, oh, you did this 6 years ago, and they haven't gotten over it, even though there's been apologies and steps and actions taken towards, you know, apologizing and moving forward. And when you thought that, well, I thought we were here, but you're way back here, which means you can't forgive and you want to hold a grudge, you want to have power and control over me. And that's the thing. They want you to feel like you are less than, and that you owe them something, and that you need their approval and you need their love. But I really want you to examine what their love looks like, you know, and decide, is that really what you want for yourself? Was that really something that made you feel fulfilled, and they made you feel, you know, complete bliss when you're around them? Or did they just make you feel like you were, you know, worthless and always trying to own up to or measure up to their standards so that they could show you kindness, so that they could give you love, where meanwhile they enjoy that you want their love and approval while they're withholding it from you and telling you, no, you're doing this and you do that, you're not getting anything from me. You know, it's horrible. It's sad. Whew. I gotta breathe. I completely understand your experience, pile number 2. And I hope that in these downloads that you're, some of this is resonating, because there's been a couple different messages coming through with just these cards. So there's a collective of people who listen to these readings. So somewhere in here, there's been a couple different loops and patterns that some of y'all have been experiencing. So it's time for you to move on, to step into your power, and to move on with confidence, and know that you deserve people who treat you with kindness and love and appreciates your effort. Okay, we have faith, we have passion, let's put you up here, we have insecurity, and expansion. Some of these came out in pile number 1. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe I can put you here. No, it looks a little too cluttered. We'll put you over there. Yeah, it's time for you to let go of any fears about not being enough, and see the individual that you are pouring all your heart and love into. You know what I mean? And not receiving it back. And you deserve somebody who knows your heart, who sees your heart, and wants to pour into your cup. So I feel like your heart needs some healing. It needs some love. It needs your tenderness. It needs your compassion. It's time to move forward. It's time to release this experience. Take the lesson with you. You were learning what love looks like by experiencing what it doesn't look like. And you were learning how to set healthier boundaries for yourself, to stop these conversations that keep going in a circle in your mind, and to move on and quit looking to the past, because the past needs to sit where it's at. It's in the past. It's time to move on. Time to release any anger that you have towards them, because anger can also keep us stuck in the past as well. It can harden your heart. And I feel like it's okay to have anger initially, but anger truly is sadness. It stems from sadness and broken heart. And anger teaches us to set healthy boundaries, because anger usually comes from feeling disrespected. Somebody's crossed the line, and I need to set a boundary for myself that protects my heart from these individuals. So forgive yourself for staying longer than you did, for investing longer than you should have. That's how big your heart is. Okay, I want you to see that you have such a big heart that you were willing to overlook somebody's misbehavior, misconduct, betrayals, harshness, you know, disrespect for so long because you love them, you know, and you can see the potential. And that's where we get stuck, is we look at their heart and we see their divinity, you know, when we look into their eyes, we can see their soul, we see the light that is within them. But it doesn't mean that they're acting on it. It doesn't mean that they're, you know, living that version of themselves. They're living out their pain and they're inflicting on others, and you don't deserve that. You aren't the one who created it. It's something that happened from somebody else and they haven't healed it themselves. And so for them, it's like a way that they have control and power is by not letting somebody fully have access to their heart and their love, because something happened to them in their childhood that they're still holding on to. And so unfortunately, you're the one who's trying to show them what love truly looks like, but they're blinded. They can't see it. And so all they see is somebody who's, you know, weak because they are tolerating being treated that way. You know what I mean? And it's not a reflection on you, it's a reflection on them, that they can't see how they're hurting you, and if they do see it, they're closing their eyes to it, because in their mind they're justified, which is sad. Okay, we have the elementals. This is how you're to move forward here, okay? You're to have faith, to follow your heart, let go of feeling insecure, expand your version of what love looks like and what it feels like, okay? Tune back into your emotions, into the heart. Listen when your intuition, when your gut instincts are saying, this individual's lying, they're manipulating you. Their actions speak louder than their words. They're talking a good game, but meanwhile, I'm watching how they're treating their best friend. I'm watching how they treat their family. I'm watching the words that they say, you know, and they're wearing a mask. They want you to perceive them a certain way, but meanwhile, this is who they really are. You know, don't give your heart away freely. You need to protect your heart. All right, we have the elementals. Spend some time in nature. Some of you may feel safer in nature. You may have felt nurturing energies coming from Mother Earth. This is a great way to reconnect to yourself, to find your stability again, to bring you back into the present moment so that you're not constantly reviewing the past and reviewing the mistakes, reviewing the relationship, and having that constant conversation or that situation replay over and over and over again in your mind. We have sensitivity and strength, tapping the forces within. Yeah, don't allow this experience to harden your heart. Allow yourself to release anything that feels heavy, you know, whether that's crying or writing it down, expressing it vocally to somebody that you feel safe around, who can help you, reassure you that everything is okay, and reminds you of who you truly are, that you are not this experience or this reflection of this experience. You're not your mistakes. We're all learning. This was a learning experience. You've learned a lot from this type of relationship, and now you're setting healthier, stronger relationships with yourself, where you expect kindness, where you expect unconditional love, where you expect that you can have conversations and share and any hurt, any pain that you have, and that you're working together to create more harmony, more love in the relationship, and you're not being torn apart and gaslit and made excuses why it's okay, you know, to be passive aggressive and just toxic, you know what I mean? Very sensitive soul, and because you are so sensitive, you know, that's why your heart needs you to protect it, because you are so kind and so giving and so loving. People take advantage of that, and that's why you have to protect it. You don't want to give it to somebody who's just going to throw your heart on the ground and kick it around, you know, by giving your heart away to them. You want to protect your heart, and you want to be more observant. You want to be less open, you know what I mean? You want to open your heart, but you want to be protective of it at the same time. So it's this fine balance where you have to be strong and sensitive at the same time, right? So you want to be looking, listening to those signs, to your instincts. Quit ignoring red flags. You know, as soon as you feel that, and it doesn't mean that everybody's going to be perfect. You know what I mean? Everybody's got things that they're working through, but you'll be able to pick up on the same loop. You know what I mean? You'll be able to pick up on, oh, I've already seen this character in my play before, and this character always does this. They always say this. They always project themselves as this, but they always turn out to be like this. You know what I mean? You can recognize it. You'll be able to recognize the pattern, that character, that same experience over and over again. And the more that the faster you catch on to it, the faster you're going to be like, they won't be showing up in your reality anymore, because you're like, I caught you. I see you. No more. I'm not playing these games anymore. I'm not having this conversation with you anymore. I'm moving on. I'm walking away. I'm not settling for that. I deserve better, because I know who I am, and I know what I deserve, and I know the love that I have is beautiful, and it's worth protecting. And anybody who gets to have a piece of my heart, they're going to be people who appreciate it, who love it, who are on the same, you know, love spectrum that I am. And we have angels of the 7 chakras, power, truth, connection. Okay, it's time for you to come into alignment with your true self, with your truth, with who you are, seeing your beauty, your divinity, your beautiful heart. You're a beautiful soul, and you deserve people in your life who appreciate it and don't want to take it for granted. Okay, your cards are 12, 3, and 35. So we have 33 coming here. This is a master teacher connection to the Christ consciousness here. You know, you have such a big, beautiful heart, and you deserve to have somebody who appreciates it. And we have a number 8. This is cycles of growth, achievement, strength, abundance. Karmic balance, restoring the balance within. Yes, yes. Yeah, you may have come from a family where, you know, they were very passive, and, you know, family members who didn't really know their worth and their value, and just kind of tolerated, you know, negativity, and didn't set those healthy standards and boundaries, maybe out of insecurity, or feeling like you were different, or that you lacked something. And so your love is your strength. Your heart is your strength, you know. So don't ever be like, oh, I just love too much or too hard. And that's not even if your love wasn't seen and acknowledged by this individual, like, it wasn't a waste. Your love went where, you know, it needed to go, even if it wasn't received by that individual. That energy, that frequency that you put out into the world, it was absorbed wherever Mother Earth, wherever Spirit, wherever God wanted the love to go. But it wasn't something that was wasted. It went where it was needed the most, okay? And right now you need to give that love to yourself, forgive yourself, understand the experience and the lesson from this type of relationship. You don't have to keep looking over the past anymore. The only thing you need to take is the lesson moving forward. Take the wisdom from the experience, make stronger, healthier choices for yourself, protect that beautiful heart that you have, and walk away. Okay, I'm going to get you some final cards, and then we'll close your reading here. Pile number 2. How can they overcome and break this karmic loop here? Give them some further guidance to close their reading. Okay, so we have playtime, the dolphin, know the important of playing as joy creates miracles and manifestation. Let me read that again. The dolphins know the importance of playing as joy creates miracles and manifestation. So with the dolphin coming through, this is healing the inner child here and allowing your inner child to feel loved, to feel safe, to feel protected, to feel acknowledged. It's also a connection to your heart chakra so that you protect your heart, you protect your inner child, you decide who is going to be welcomed into the family, who is somebody that deserves to be a part of your life, and who do you need to set healthy boundaries and standards against, okay? You're being asked to enjoy life, to let go of this past so that you can be happy, so that you can be joyful, and that you can play again, so you can free yourself from this experience. We have time to move on. It's time to let go of the old and worn out so that the new can come in. And when you finally decide, like, okay, I'm going to move on, you create a void. You create space for something new to come in, new relationships, new experiences, new joy, new happiness, new opportunities, higher vibrational experiences. So we are not in a place of a lack or anything. You're going to find that you're going to be so grateful that you moved on, that you walked away. We have, if you get nervous, focus on service. Put your entire intention on answering the question, how can I make the world a better place? And the law of attraction will automatically take care of your needs. Okay, so I feel like we had reap what you sow, all right? So when you do good things and you finally walk away from the karmic relationships and you're like, I'm done with these types of experiences, I'm walking away from these karmic people, these karmic relationships, I'm done having people take advantage of me and disrespect me and betray my heart, I no longer want to experience that anymore, so I'm going to start being more aware of who I'm giving my heart to, who I'm overlooking these red flags, you will start to attract people in your life who know not to step towards you with that energy, because you're putting up this almost like a wall or a barrier or boundary that says, don't mess with this. You know what I mean? I can see through you. You can't gaslight me. I know who I am. I know my worth. I know my value. I can see the truth now, and I know that you're lying to me. So if you feel like you are, if you start to feel lost in any kind of way, go back into your heart space and do the things that makes you feel good. So if you do feel like you're stuck somewhere and you don't know the path forward, go into the heart space and do something that you're passionate about doing. If you're passionate about painting, something that's creative, working in a garden, baking, creating music, writing, journaling, coloring, I don't know, dancing, exercising, going for a walk in nature, whatever it is, tune into that energy, into those experiences. Use that to help you heal and to create something from this experience. You will, when I started healing and everything, I got really involved in gardening and baking and painting and even beading, making jewelry, spending time out in nature. It just was very comforting and very nurturing to me. And you have the Ascended Masters. Powerful, loving, and wise spiritual teachers are watching over and guiding you. Okay, so you have a spirit team that's guiding you right now. Very connected to nature, to the higher realms. I feel like this is something that you definitely want to investigate, spending more time on your spirituality and what it is that you want to create in the world for yourself, and to focus on creating something, creating the life that you want, creating the relationship you want. How do you want to go forward? What is it you want to create now? That's beautiful. And focus on your spiritual connection. Listen to your heart, listen to your guides. Find some kind of, whether it's yoga, meditation, you know, there's all different kinds of spiritual practices out there. I'm not sure what you're, whether you're religious or spiritual, but you have a lot of guides who are rooting for you to overcome this experience and to get out of this loop, okay? All right, pile number 2. I need to go get something to drink. My mouth is very dry. Thank you all for being here on the channel with me today in the temple. I hope this reading helps you in some way. Please like and subscribe. Comment below if this reading helps you in any kind of way, or just let me know that this was your reading. Sending out lots of love. Take care. Have a blessed day. Welcome, pile number 3. So these are your hidden karmic loops and how to break from them today, how to break them, how to end that karmic cycle. So in this pile here, we have the karmic loop, the pattern that you may be stuck in, and then these are the cards that are going to reveal how to overcome them. So you were drawn to this pile here, this card, and this card is about manipulation, somebody pulling the strings, somebody gaslighting you, using you. Maybe there's a specific role that you're being forced to play, something that's not quite in an alignment with your true self. And you were drawn to the Indigo Gabbro, and this is a card of a stone of awakening, deep transformation, spiritual insights. It connects the third eye and the root chakra, so grounded spirituality, grounded focus, so that you can see things clearly. It also helps to shield you from negativity. So there's either someone who's pulling the strings, somebody who's you know, manipulating you. Maybe they're using you to create something, to perform something, perhaps to make them look better, whatever the case may be. Manipulation, yeah. A role that you're being forced in. I feel like, yeah, you need to break yourself free from this loop. We have restore the broken self. Parts of you were left behind in pain. Call them home. You're ready to become whole again. Yeah, I feel like this role that you're playing is not really truly who you are. I feel like it's just a role that you're playing. It doesn't really make you feel like you're your authentic self, like you can be your authentic self. We have cultivate courage. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the ability to move forward despite it. Okay. Oh, fear may be controlling you. Your fear may be something that's preventing you from living the life or being your true self. We have to sit with the wound. Not everything needs to be fixed right away. Some healing begins when you're willing to stay with what hurts. And then we have love without self-abandonment. Real love doesn't ask you to disappear. Stay present, stay whole, and still be loved. Okay, beautiful. All right, so I feel like there may be a part of you that, you know, a painful wound, something that has happened, something that occurred that made you feel like you weren't enough, that who you were, your true self, wasn't approved, you know what I mean? And like you had to almost like disown a part of yourself, that you're having to play a role just to fit in with either family or with society or with friends, that you can't be yourself. And if you were to be yourself, that you wouldn't be accepted and that you wouldn't be loved. And so because you're looking outside of yourself for the approval and for the love, you end up abandoning your own self, that version of you that wants to be loved, that wants to be expressed. You end up also being somebody who denies that version of yourself and says you aren't enough. You almost agree with them by not allowing that version of yourself to be expressed, by you not being true to yourself and true to your feelings and your desires. You also are abandoning that version of yourself as well. And we have the cultivate courage. This is being afraid, but doing it anyway, despite of the fear, because the role that you're playing isn't making you happy. It doesn't make you feel bliss. It doesn't bring joy. It doesn't bring happiness. You feel like you're not yourself. You know, you feel like you're playing a role, and it's not going to bring that happiness to you. So there's a version of you that you've left behind, but it's wanting to come online. It's wanting to be restored. It's wanting to be heard. It's wanting to be seen and acknowledged. This is who I am, and I feel alone. I feel like nobody sees me, nobody loves me, and it's sad because we end up repeating that to our own selves, even when individuals in our life, whether it's family, you know, our friends, our partners, society, that says, oh well, if you work at this kind of a job, you know, it's not seen in high regard, you know, or it's something to be ashamed of. Or if you live this kind of way, dress this kind of way, you know, have this kind of job, if you love this type of individual, if you yourself are, you know, different in any kind of way, it's frowned upon, you know. And here's the thing, people like you're trendsetters. You're here to break that mold and to say that love doesn't belong in a box, you know. We're all not meant to be copies of one another. We're all meant to be different. This is Source, this is God, the Creator, wanting to express itself in unlimited forms and have unlimited experiences. That's why we are given free will, so that we can make the choices, so we can choose, so that there's this unlimited potential, unlimited creations, so that the Source Creator God can see all the many different ways of experiencing itself, and all the different colors and all the different facets, all the little different fractals and pixels. You know, each one is something different. We're meant to be different, and you are meant to own every part of who you are, and not detach from them and disown them, because then you end up abandoning who you really are. So this is about self-love, self-worth, and stepping back into your power and your true authentic self. So if there's some old wounds, abandonment wounds, not feeling good enough, this is what needs to be acknowledged, what needs your love, what needs your acceptance, so that you can heal and move forward. We have insecurity, anger, illusion, and pride. Yeah, you're not owning who you are. You're afraid to be different or to stand out in some kind of way. I feel like you're hiding your light, hiding your true self, because you're afraid that you won't be loved if you were who you truly are. If you were to show that version of yourself, if you were to have that job, or, you know, live that lifestyle, or wear your hair the way you want to wear your hair, or have tattoos or whatever, that you're going to be judged. And here's the thing, people just love to judge anyway. It doesn't matter what you do. Somebody's always going to have an opinion, and that's it. It's just an opinion. You don't need their approval. And people who love you, people who want you in their life, they will accept you just as you are, and they're going to want you to be happy. As long as you're not hurting anybody, they should be rooting for you. They want you to be, you know, your true self, your authentic self. And people who criticize you or shame you, those are people that you need to distance yourself from. Or, you know, when you are your true self, that really shows you who really truly does care about you, and who truly, you know, supports you and wants you in your life. It's like you become your authentic self, and then it reveals to you who else is authentic to you. You know what I mean? As in, they only want you in their life because you give access to this, this, and this, or because you want their approval, so therefore they have control over you, and they can manipulate you because you don't express your truth and you don't share those things. So they're like, haha, they don't know their worth and their value, so I have power over them, and I can control them, and I can make them believe this and that and this and that, because they're not expressing their true self. They're hiding a version of themselves, and they really want my approval, and I'm going to withhold it and hide it from them, so that they're constantly seeking, you know, my love or my attention. Yeah, and I feel like your inner child, this version of you, is angry because it doesn't feel like it's loved and accepted, and it's just shamed and ignored and pushed to the side. And that version of you needs to be expressed. It needs to be set free. You need to free yourself. You need to take that leap of faith and have courage to be who you really are, because you were created this way, and it was you came with this energy, with this version of yourself for a reason, because you're here to break the mold. You're here to be that trendsetter, you know what I mean? Maybe there's somebody who's waiting, you know, everything is destined, everything has a cycle and a pattern. So what if there's somebody who's waiting for you, because things have to fall into a pattern, into alignment in order for something to happen. So what if somebody's been waiting for you to finally, you know, bring this version of yourself online and to activate it and to express it in order for them to see you, to be around you, or have some kind of experience before they can then say, oh my goodness, I'm so happy, or an inspiration. You've inspired me to let myself be seen, to acknowledge this version of myself that I've been too afraid to shine, to acknowledge, or to, you know, express. It's going to free you when you finally do. You have to come to a place where you learn to love yourself, all aspects of your being, and not be afraid to be who you are. Yeah, real love doesn't ask you to disappear, okay? Real love wants to be seen, felt, acknowledged, supported. And anybody in your life who wants you to dim your light and not be who you really are, you know, that isn't somebody who truly loves you. And it just reminds me of certain parents who, like, let's say their family, like everybody in their family is like a doctor, and they want their child to take on that family role of being a doctor. And so they end up trying to force that role onto their child because everybody else in the family is a doctor, so we want you to be a doctor too. But that child maybe wants to be a musician, you know, like in their soul and their spirit, they don't resonate as a doctor. It's not an interest to them. But the family wants them to do it. Well, everybody does it, so you're going to do it too. And if you don't, what does that mean? For a child, it feels like, you know, well, then I won't be loved, I won't be accepted, I'll be shamed, I'll be cut out of the family. If I don't fall in line and do what you say, you're going to withhold love and family from me, you know. And so it can be scary to go out on a limb on your own and to stand up for yourself and say, but I don't want to do that. I want to do this, and have the courage to say, no, I really want to be a musician. It's in my heart. It's my passion. I really want to do that because that's my truth, and this is who I am, and this is why I came here. I'm meant to inspire people through my music, you know, because that's your truth. That's in an alignment with who you are as a soul. And anytime we're acting out somebody else's role, somebody else's dream and fantasy, you know what I mean, we're never going to be happy because we're not doing it for us, we're doing it for someone else. And so we have to free ourselves from feeling like we have to be this, and this in order to be loved, all right? You're the one who needs to love you and say, I love me enough to say no. And this is my heart, this is my passion, and I'm going to do it. And you can support me. And if you're not going to support me, then I'm going to have to distance myself from you, because I don't want to hear every time I'm around you that you're ashamed of me, or have you criticized my choices and the things that bring me happiness and joy. Because I deserve to be happy, and anybody who loves me wants me to be happy, because that's what true love is. That's what unconditional love is. You want your kids to be happy and to shine where they shine the brightest. You know what I mean? So, and that's what you deserve. Pound number 3. You shouldn't have to be something to fit into everybody else's, you know, mold of what you should be doing. All right, so now these are the cards that are going to help you, you know, free yourself, other than what I've been saying here. But once you do, look, we have this abundance. So we have somebody who's like, you know, trying to figure out how they can get this abundance, and we have somebody who like this is like they have the tools to the abundance. That's the thing. Instead of like worrying about how they're going to get it and fretting over it and being so stuck in the mind and miserable, this is somebody who like knows their truth. And when we are in an alignment with our truth, things just flow. It comes naturally. And we have an impasse. This is a choice that needs to be made. We have prayer. And then we have miracle. Nice. I love this for you. Okay, so it may be something that you've been praying about, something that you've been wondering about. And here it is. The choice is up to you. The choice is up to you to make this choice to be yourself, and you have a miracle, you know? And that's the thing, like, things will all of a sudden just open up when you finally choose you choose to love yourself and to follow your heart and to do what feels good to your heart and soul. Things just align in such a way that miracles take place, because a miracle is things that, it's just divine alignment. It comes easily. That's how you know you're on the right path, because things open up. You don't have to worry. There's no fear. There's no regret. It just, everything aligns. You have divine alignment here. And abundance, you know, and that's what you deserve. You deserve happiness. And abundance comes in so many different forms, you know. We have abundance of money, happiness, good memories, good times, good experiences, of the breath that we breathe, you know, the light that comes in. Abundance is just so many things, and it may be something that you've been praying about, you know. We have two different versions. We have this, which is wild. We have the city, and then we have the country over here. And it's making that choice. What is your dream? You know, what is your ultimate dream? And then having the courage to make that choice. And when you do, you find that everything aligns, and that you have this abundant life, an abundance of happiness, an abundance of love, support, friendship, connection. Yeah, it all starts by you accepting all versions of yourself, by you acknowledging who you really are, who you truly are, how you feel, and what it is that you want for yourself in your life. And not to let somebody else manipulate you or try to control you and, you know, deceive you out of what you know is really what you want and who you are. Archangel Haniel, joy, blessings, and intuition. Beautiful. So we have card number 6. 6 is about our home life, creating a nurturing environment for yourself. Family, empathy, harmony, love, balance, and learning to create that. And we have mindfulness. Beautiful. Peaceful presence, and quiet mind. And it's a card number 1. This is taking the first step, new beginnings, new cycle, coming into your own independence, freeing yourself from this manipulation, from this control, trying to control this aspect of yourself that's waiting to just break free and bust out. And we have conscious steps. Beautiful. Considered action, looking forward. All right, so make conscious choices, choosing to respond versus react. All right, because you want people to understand, you want people to empathize, you want people to see what this means to you, you know, and making that choice to choose you and choosing your happiness, to choose to do what lights your soul on fire, you know, and to walk away from the control, from the illusion, from feeling insecure, and stepping into a more empowered version of yourself that feels more confident going forward. And we have card number 26, which is an 8, cycles of growth, achievement, strength, as well as success, wealth. Yeah, make the conscious choice to love yourself, to express yourself, to acknowledge where you may have been denying your truth in any kind of way and hiding who you are. And come to a place where you accept, where you can give yourself the biggest hug, or you can forgive yourself for trying to, you know, live up to other people's standards or play a role that didn't really feel like it was your truth, you know. True worth is measured by character, not by accolades. Ooh, I love that. Exactly. Our worth is, and that's the thing, like, your finances shouldn't determine your worth. How you look shouldn't determine your worth. All those things. Your partner, you know what I mean? If it's strong, healthy, committed, loyal, it doesn't matter. Love is love, and love comes in so many different forms. And I feel like that's why there's so many new versions of love that have been breaking out into the collective, because it's to teach us that you can't fit love into a little box, and it isn't just this or that. It's in so many different forms, and we see it even playing out in nature as well. Yeah, know your worth. Know who you are. Know your value. And people who love you will appreciate you standing in your truth. And they'll want you to be happy, like I said. We have pay attention, notice repetitious signs, and your inner guidance, as this can yield valuable information. All right, so pay attention to how you feel and who makes you feel supported, who makes you feel loved, who makes you want to hide, who makes you want to, like, you know, you feel this like contraction. That is showing you that this isn't somebody that you feel safe around. This is somebody that you feel like you can't be yourself, that you have to hide. And those aren't people who are supportive. And you want to spend the least amount of time with those individuals as possible. And the ones that make you expand, they make you shine, they make you feel accepted and loved, those are the people you want to spend more time around, because they are like a vibrational match. You know, they encourage you, they see you, and they help you and encourage you to be yourself. Like they accept you, you know. We have blessed change. A major life change brings you great blessings. Nice. It almost looks like it's the Hanged Man, you know, seeing things from a different perspective here. So things are about to shift for you, which is beautiful, because that's what you need. You need to shift into this version of yourself and not play a role for other people. We have you are profoundly clairvoyant. Trust what you see in your mind's eye, as well as with your physical sight. For your spiritual vision helps you with healing, teaching, and guidance. Okay, so some of you do have some clairvoyancy, and I feel like maybe you may shut that voice down, or shut that guidance down sometimes. Maybe that's part of you that you deny, is that you can see the truth, or maybe you see people who want to manipulate you, and you may like just write it off as, you know, or maybe you know, you just have gut feelings and stuff like that, and you don't listen to them. And sometimes you look back and go, oh my goodness, I felt that, I thought that, but I ignored it, and I denied that that was really, maybe I just wrote it off with coincidence, you know. And it's not. Listen to your intuition, trust your inner compass and your guidance. Your body is like an instrument. Your emotions are an instrument. use it, listen to it. It's helping you to navigate this realm, especially when you're around individuals, with people. And you have the Ascended Masters as well. Powerful, loving, and wise spiritual teachers are waiting, watching and guiding you. All right, so you are being guided to change, to step into your truth, to step onto your guided path. You're being guided at the moment. This is what needs to be healed so you can step out of this karmic loop. This may be something that has been generational. Obviously, that's what karmic loops are. They're things that have been passed down generationally, where it takes somebody who has the courage to say, no, this stops with me. I'm going to be the person that says, this doesn't work for me. I don't want to feel like I have to be this or do this in order to be loved and accepted and appreciated and valued. I have to listen to my heart and do what's right for me, regardless if you're going to withhold love, because love doesn't do that, especially unconditional love or people who say they love you, especially if this is parental. Okay? Have the courage to stand in your truth, stand in your worth, and know who you are. Pile number 3. All right, you guys, I hope this reading helps you in some kind of way. I'm giving y'all big hugs, giving you strength and courage to own who you are, and to stand up for yourself and to love every aspect of your being. Okay, you can do this. All right, you guys, thanks for being in the temple with me today. Comment below if you feel like sharing your story, or just let me know that this reading resonated with you. I'm sending you all my love. Take care. Have a blessed day.